Hello everyone, you are on the channel Scary Story. Have you ever felt a chill run down your spine for no apparent reason? Or caught a flicker of movement from the corner of your eye, only to turn and find nothing there? Most of us dismiss these moments as tricks of the light or our minds playing games. But what if they aren't? What if they are echoes from the past trying to break through? Tonight's story is about a place where the past isn't just a memory, it's a living, breathing presence. My story begins with an old house, the kind you see in movies and immediately know something is wrong. Blackwood Manor stood on a hill overlooking our small town, a skeletal silhouette against the often grey sky. It had been abandoned for as long as anyone could remember, its windows like vacant eyes staring out at the world. My friends and I, being typical teenagers with more bravery than sense, decided it would be the perfect place for a night of adventure. Armed with flashlights and a cheap camera, we climbed the rusted gate one moonless night. The front door groaned open with a push, revealing a cavern of darkness that smelled of dust and decay. The air inside was heavy, thick with the silence of forgotten years. As we stepped in, the door slammed shut behind us, a sound so final it made us all jump. We laughed it off, blaming the wind, but a seed of genuine fear had been planted. Our flashlights cut through the gloom, illuminating grand, decaying furniture draped in white cloths, like ghosts frozen in time. Portraits with faded, watching eyes lined the grand staircase. Everything was coated in a thick layer of dust, undisturbed for decades, or so we thought. As we explored the ground floor, we found a diary in the study, lying open on a dusty desk. The handwriting was elegant, a beautiful cursive script. It belonged to a woman named Ilara, the last resident of the manor. The entry was dated almost a century ago. She wrote of her love for the house, but also of a growing dread, a feeling of being watched, of not being alone. She described whispers in the walls and shadows that danced when no one was moving. We read her words aloud, our voices echoing in the silent room. That's when things started to get weird. A cold spot drifted through the room, so cold it felt like stepping into a freezer. My friend Jake, who was holding the camera, said he saw something through the viewfinder, a fleeting shape in the corner. He played it back, and for a split second, a blurry, dark figure was visible behind me. We tried to rationalize it, a smudge on the lens, a trick of the light, but the feeling of being watched intensified. We decided to go upstairs, a mixture of fear and morbid curiosity pushing us forward. The stairs creaked under our weight, each step a groan of protest from the old house. The air grew colder the higher we climbed. At the top of the stairs, a long hallway stretched before us, lined with closed doors. One door at the very end was slightly ajar, a sliver of deeper darkness beckoning us. Ilara's diary mentioned her bedroom at the end of the hall. She wrote about a music box her husband had given her, one that would play on its own in the dead of night. As if on cue, a faint, tinkling melody began to drift from the open door. It was a sweet, sad tune, a lullaby that sounded completely out of place in this decaying mansion. Against our better judgment, we crept towards the sound. Peeking into the room, we saw it. A small, ornate music box on a dresser, its tiny ballerina spinning slowly. But there was no one there to wind it. The room was otherwise empty, save for a large four-poster bed and a wardrobe with its door slightly open. That's when Sarah, my other friend, screamed. She was pointing at the wardrobe mirror. Reflected in its clouded glass, behind our own terrified faces, was the figure of a woman. She was pale, dressed in a gown from another era, her eyes dark and full of sorrow. As we stared, frozen in horror, her reflection raised a hand, not at us, but as if to touch the face of someone standing just behind her. We didn't wait to see more. We turned and ran. We scrambled down the stairs, tripping over each other in our panic. The house seemed to come alive around us. Doors slammed open and shut down the hallway. The whispers Ilara wrote about were now loud, swirling around us. Incomprehensible words filled with anguish. It felt like the house itself was trying to keep us, to add our screams to its collection of sorrowful echoes. We burst out of the front door and didn't stop running until we were back at the rusted gate, gasping for breath, our hearts pounding in our chests. We never went back to Blackwood Manor. The camera, in our haste, was left behind, a small sacrifice for our escape. A few years later, driven by a need for answers, I did some research at the local library. The story of Blackwood Manor was a tragic one. Ilara's husband had passed away suddenly in the house. Consumed by grief, she claimed his spirit never left. She became a recluse, refusing to leave the manor, convinced he was still there with her. The townspeople thought she had lost her mind. One day they found her in her bedroom, having passed away peacefully in her sleep, the music box still playing its gentle tune. It seems Ilara wasn't alone in her grief, and she wasn't alone in that house. Maybe she finally found peace with the spirit she so desperately wanted to stay with. Or maybe they are both still there, two shadows of the past, forever bound to the decaying halls of Blackwood Manor, waiting for the next curious visitors. Some places hold more than just memories. They hold feelings, moments, and people who refuse to be forgotten. The shadows of the past are long, and sometimes, if you look close enough, you can see them reaching out from the darkness. Thanks for listening. If you have your own story you'd like to share, drop it in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next journey into the shadows. Stay safe, and whatever you do, don't play with the echoes of the past.